one. Go for it.
I got two goes. Are we on the go? Now, see, now we're on the go. Now we're go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Atomic Mass Transmissions Live. I'm your host, Dallas, and we are here today. We're going to do some hobbying. So, hobby ventures. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to hobby on our Star-Lord. So we have the Star-Lord here with his instruction papers. We have a Star-Lord frame. And I'm just going to go over how I approach hobby ventures, how I clip things out, how I put them together. So feel free to follow along. If you happen to, for tomorrow, you can watch this in the future when you get your Star-Lords, which release tomorrow along with your Rockets and your Groots. Or if you feel like you want to learn a little bit more about how to assemble hobby miniatures, you should like and share this out and like tag your buddy who needs a little help learning how to clip some miniatures. So let's just get going. I'm going to go over a couple of the tools. Let me turn on my light here 5 times. Get in focus. So of course we got our clippers. We use these to clip the parts off the frame. I got a selection of hobby knives. These are pretty beat up. I'm pretty bad. This is my main workhorse, and this is my little scalpel. This thing will clean stuff up for me. I got my tweezers for gripping little bitty bits. I got this brush. What I do is I have a little paintbrush here. I like this guy. It's been cut down, kind of short. And when I'm shaving off excess material, I like to brush my miniature to make sure it's nice and clean. I have a 65 millimeter base here. I'm going to be putting my glue in this. And this is just to keep the glue, instead of going straight onto the miniature parts with the glue bottle, I put glue out here, and I'm going to be using toothpicks to apply the glue. That's my preferred method. It allows me for more control. I have 2 types. I have super glue and I have plastic glue. It's up to you. Plastic glue is recommended. I like the speed that super glue gives me, but plastic glue gives you a little time to get those parts moving. If you put 2 parts together, you can actually still move them around a little bit, whereas like a lot of times the super glue wants to grab and immediately stick. So let's get started. I'm just going to follow along to our Star-Lord assembly guide. The instructions will be online tomorrow, and you can follow along and put your Star-Lord together. So we're just going to take his head. You can see here he's got 2 parts, 2 of each part of his head. So in case, this was actually for frame balance. So I'm going to clip away from, could just do that with the hobby clippers. I'm going to cut away from the frame, or the part a little bit from the frame. I'm going to use my knife, and I'm going to just get rid of that extra frame. Then I'm going to clean that up, just like that. Search for any extra pieces, any extra flash, any extra material. Josh, I forgot to say you're here with me.
I am here. Hello, everyone.
You were so excited. We just got going. Sorry.
It's okay. Just pretend I'm not here. Of course, the first question everybody always gets asked is, what is that green thing that you were putting your glue in earlier?
Oh, that's just a little, it's just a little puck made out of silicone. Anything works to put your glue in. It's just a little puck of silicone. It works pretty good. I didn't grab it. I just grabbed an old base. So I'm just going to clean up my parts. It's got no real cleanup on these, just where the frame connects to the parts. Let's use a little super glue. I'm going to use a little super glue. So if you have any questions about assembly, any questions about hobby miniatures, this is the stream to be asking about it, because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about building. We're talking about having fun, putting in some hobby time, getting our Marvel heroes and villains assembled. And this head just goes together just like so. Works pretty good. That's the 2 sides of his head. He's got his face. We're just going to clip that out. Now the reason, if you look at this, the reason he's got two sides of the head and the face and then the hair, I'm going to explain a little bit of this to y'all. So are you ready for some lessons, Josh?
Lay it on us.
So you have a big steel plate that goes this way and a big steel plate that goes this way. That's how these are made. And when steel comes apart, you can't have any undercuts, right? There can be no undercuts.
What is an undercut?
So undercut would be like if this plastic goes under there. So you can't have anything grab. That steel has to slide right out or it'll just shred everything or come apart. So if you want like the side of the head, like you want this face being straight on. So you can tell this is the way the plate goes. This goes right in between the two plates. They pull straight apart like this on the frames. So you want that face nice and detailed, right? You want that really nice, cool Star-Lord details. Now, if the head was on there, one piece, that steel would have to slide straight back. So you'd only get horizontal or slightly angled lines. And Star-Lord has a lot of really cool details on the side of his head that would have been glommed away or destroyed in that process. And we really like the little details. So, and the hair is a really nice, got a lot of really sharp curls and furls. And to get that, to maintain that, when that plate goes through, it would just slide that away. You'd get you would get way less waves and curls.
So I mean, as super oversimplification, it sounds like you would either get face or no ears, or ears, no face.
You can get certain things. It's complex. It's very complex. It's very, very complex. And there's a lot to go into this. I'm gonna put like a little tiny bit of glue in that peg hole. Our engineers, Marco and Evan, like spend a lot of time learning how to do this and developing new techniques and new ideas and working with production to figure out a lot of very interesting engineering puzzles, because it's a big puzzle. It's very tricky. It's very, very skilled job. It's a lot of fun, like, because I get to assist. Like, I don't do the work, but I get to assist and like help look for solutions. So it's a lot of fun. I love puzzles. I think that's why I like miniatures so much. It's like I love a good puzzle. And it goes into gaming too, right? Like miniature hobby gaming is kind of like the quintessential puzzle, because you got the puzzle of the miniature, and you got the puzzle of the game, the mind of your opponent. Okay, I'm just going to use a little toothpick. I'm going to put a little glue in the top of his noggin. So I'm just going to swirl it around in there. Make sure there's glue all over. There's a little peg right there. I'm just going to make sure it's the right direction. Just boop, pop that right in there. Just like that, easy peasy. Nice big fat keys. When you put your Star-Lord together, he's got nice big keys that slot right together. Make sure that one of the lessons I learned 20-some years ago, I've been hobbying for a long, long time, is make sure you have a big, clean, open, well-lit space for hobby. If you're prone to dropping stuff, I used to have a roommate, he dropped everything. I rarely drop stuff, so it's all...
Ooh, la-di-da.
No, that's not bragging. I'm just saying.
Perfect hand control.
I have a lot of hand control. I played saxophone, Josh. I'm going to clip out his leg. Remember, I'm going right next to, on this one, I'm going to go right next to the part, use the beveled edge there to guide my cut. And I'm going to use my blade to clean up the part. But if you are prone to dropping, like a towel is great. Also like this, watch, I'm gonna go ahead and skip ahead. I'm gonna grab this other leg. Watch how I clip this leg out. Or let's clip out this, this is his little rocket. So watch this. See how I pinch that like that? Mm-hmm. And then I go way up here. I'm gonna go way above, away from the part. I clip that way. Drop it in my palm. Literally impossible. I'm gonna set that right aside because I'm not gonna do it yet. But like, adjusting your techniques, right? It's techniques, just like fly fishing, a great hobby. You're learning new techniques, you're developing new skills, you're working to get better. And that's what we do here. Actually, I'm going to use that part. Good thing I clipped that out. Just going to clean up this leg real quick. Is there any questions? There's no mold lines on this leg at all. What kind of questions we got? I'm going to dry fit this. It's perfect. So I'm actually going to leave that on there while you're reading the thing. So there's a little bit of frame there. I'm just going to hold that. I'm going to take my little toothpick, little bit drop of glue right on the back of that. I'm going to stick it right into the boot, just like so. I'm going to hold it for a few seconds. Then I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to clip away that frame. It's a nice little trick.
Yeah, one question. Sometimes you have a miniature with two heads. Have you thought about putting a different expression on the face of the second head?
Well, sometimes we don't know that there's going to be two heads. Like that's a production thing. Like a lot of times these extra heads, they're there because in production, this frame has to be very balanced. Like these parts, a lot of times these parts have to be cut, not just for detail reasons and all kinds of other things, but like flow. There's a lot of science to the flow. There are all kinds of things here. Where these go, where these like feeds go in, it's all about all kinds of things happening. There's a ton of science. That's why they're engineers. See, I'm holding that part, and I'm gonna clip right. I'm gonna clip away from this actually. And then I'm going to cut that away with my knife. Boop. And we do think about adding, we have thought about we might explore that alternate head kind of thing on our own sometime. Who knows what the future holds for Atomic Mass Games?
It could be anything. We have a question. Is there a way to alter the direction of the guns that he's holding? He wants his Star-Lord to be shooting forward.
Let's take a. I don't think so. His arms are very crooked. Like you can see here. Can you see that?
Let me see once it.
Yeah, you can see his arms are bent. So if you wanted to, you just slice that
Clip it. Yeah.
and repin it, and then just putty over it. And because it's cloth, it doesn't need to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
You can make a nice looking cloth. And dry fit this. Uh-oh. Ooh. I got the sneezes. So this just has a big trough, and this whole thing just slots right in there. So it's a nice big connection point. And put some glue in there with my toothpick. See how that just gives me a ton of control? Remember with super glue, I'm using super glue. Plastic glue is awesome too. Less is more. You don't want a ton of glue in there. All right, got that leg, this leg. Let's go ahead and clean off this extra frame I left on there. So I'm going to use my knife and just gently knock that off. A little cleanup. Perfect. 2 legs and a head already done. Time for the torso. This miniature, super dynamic. Once again, I'm just going to go right next to the frame. Then I'm going to clean it up. See, I dropped that. We just talked about I rarely drop it, and I dropped it.
Your hubris.
It got the best of me, Josh. That's what happens when you go live. You're always bound to do the thing you rarely do. So once again, torso is very clean. Like I said, if you're new to hobby miniatures, or you're you know, just learning, these are a lot of good tips and tricks, and just evolving your skill and your patience. Lots to be said for a nice, well-lit place to work. Now, people put glue on that peg, and then you got that big hole that goes in. I recommend don't put glue in there, because I don't know if you've ever heard of a little thing called hydraulics.
I haven't.
You never heard of hydraulics? You don't know the philosophies and principles of hydraulics?
Is it like a car or something?
It's like a car. So if you put liquid in there, and the pressure is going to push that out, and it's going to actually keep the piece from sitting. It may even actually push the piece out. So I don't put glue in the holes or on the pegs. You go where the seam touches, and then your torso's together. Easy peasies. Now all these parts are going to come together here. Going to get the arms out. Go ahead and get the arms out. Once again, I'm pinching the arm, going right next to it, holding the arm, clipping it, dropping it. This side, hold the arm, clip it, drop it, set the frame aside. Go right into cleaning the guns.
Follow up to the gun question.
I love it.
For the people looking to change the guns, would it look weird to just rotate them on the shoulder? Is that-
Probably, because he's going to be doing this.
Uh,
Well, we can look. Why don't we look and see how it looks? This is going to see this. This key here is going to fit in the body, and there's a little bit of extra material. So I'm just going to scrape that away, because when I go dry fit that, I know it's going to catch. So I'm just go ahead and get rid of that now. So I like to double check all my pieces. Make sure I get the best fit possible. You can also scrape.
what do you do? This is for me. What do you do if you take away too much of the key, of the male key?
That's all right.
Like, what do you do?
That's all right.
Do you have a fix for that or anything?
Well, the key doesn't, those pegs typically don't grab the part. There's usually like a bunch of material that touches together like around the outside. So then I just go for that.
Interesting.
So let's look at this torso. If you put this arm on like it goes, it fits very nicely like this. If you roll like this, it actually, the key doesn't quite go. So you could shave it down. You need to have like that kind of like cocked arm kind of feel. Might look cool. It's up to you. It's your miniature. It's whatever you think looks cool. Whatever you like. We're gonna go standard out the box. A little bit of glue right around there. Just like that. It's very technical. But anyways, I love this. I love Star-Lord's miniature. I think he came out super dynamic. Just a really great interpretation by our sculptor Dave Kidd. Just really killed this thing. Just made it awesome. So there's one arm on. Let's go ahead and put the other arm on. Let's see how this one looks if it rotates. This one actually has like a long rectangle peg, so you'd have to literally remove the peg. You'd get something sort of like this if you were to rotate it. It's probably kind of hard to see. So that might look all right.
Yeah, that doesn't look too bad.
I like his jumping up action pose. Guns ready. He's not blasting quite yet. All right, let that dry a second. Make sure my base is clean because we're getting really close to getting ready to put him on his base. So make sure that's clean while those other pieces cure. I'm not even using my tweezers. Not even using my tweezers. Let's go ahead and put the straight leg on. I'm gonna go ahead and dry fit that. It's got a little round key. It fits right in there. You just kind of fit that in where it looks correct. It goes back just a little bit. You can see the angle there. When you rotate it around, that's why you dry fit. Remember, measure twice, cut once, right? Applies to everything in life. So if you put it in there, it kind of fits, but if you rotate it, you feel it just really snap into place. And you get that long leg stretch to represent his that boost. We are talking hobby, we're talking about assembly, we're talking about putting together our Star-Lord, go over some tactics, tips and tricks. So if you got anybody out there that you feel could use a little information, share this out and let them know that we're doing this. And we're gonna get back in it. Lights on. Camera 2, Josh.
Bam.
Bam. So this leg actually slots up into the torso just a little bit. You'll feel it grab when it's correct. Like it really kind of grabs in there and doesn't want to move once it's up in there proper. So I'm going to go ahead and apply a little glue to that. And if you have any hobby questions, feel free to ask. You can also ask us on, where can they ask us, Josh, if they have a hobby question?
Feel free to add us on Twitter at Atomic Mass Games.
Oh,
Ask
yes.
some questions there if you wish. And on here. And if you ask us something on Twitter and it may be a good enough question, we might talk about it on the stream.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and put his head on. Oh, I should dry fit that. I got all overexcited. So there's like a little key in there. It's a little slot in his neck. So I'm going to put a little glue on the underside of his head. I'm just going to slot that right in there. His head's looking slightly to his right. Smokity smokes. And I totally skipped a step too.
No!
I'm a monster. I forgot a satchel.
How will he carry his bag?
How will he carry his I don't want to say stolen goods. His acquired trinkets. He's a famous outlaw, you know.
It's true. He's known widely throughout the galaxy.
Widely. So his little satchel goes right on there. Sorry, I skipped that step. Totally missed it. Totally wasn't paying attention. Got it all wrapped up in the conversation. Refresh it.
Check it out.
Refresh it. We may still be having technical difficulties.
No, we're not. I know what he's talking about.
No, we're not. All right, cool. I mean, I'm sure chat would have told you. So the satchel goes right like that, snaps right on the back, easy peasy. It looks like all we got left is a shoulder pad and the two sides of his coat. So I'm going to go ahead and do a shoulder pad next. Once again, small parts, I pinch them, go way up above, clip it out, drop it on, move the frame out of the way. Oh, we're moving the camera. We're moving the camera.
Just a little higher up.
This guy's got zero cleanup. He's super clean, which is super awesome. And you just want to dry fit this once again. There's some little hinges there You can line those up. You can see how that shoulder pad goes on there, just like so. Feels pretty good. Put a little glue on there. Going in left-handed. See, I put my fingers together like that. Then I can control better. I got my hands resting on the table, fingers together. Gives me a lot of balance, a lot of control when manipulating parts. Whoops. Spin that around. Just like that. Shoulder pad on. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and clip out the two sides of my coat. We're almost done here. So now's the time if you have any questions, let me know. We spoiled all of his rules, didn't we?
We did.
We did. I can't wait to see Star-Lords hit the table at the local game store tomorrow with the Groots and the Rockets. Just gonna pull both of these off the frame and clean them both up. Just clean them up like so. Just there's a little bit of extra material. I'm just gonna barely slide the blade across that. Just clean that up. Of course, double check all your parts. A little extra material there. From the molding process. So the big crinkly cape or jacket goes on this side. And it just goes right there. And this one goes on this side. Right there. And this one flares out a little bit. You can see once you dry fit this, you can see how it lines up flat against the upper part of the cape or jacket. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one on. So there's a big blank spot right here. I'm going to make sure I put a little bit of glue on that lip. Then I'm going to press that there. Make sure it's flat and square, and I'm going to hold it for a few seconds. This piece is setting out away from the torso a little bit, so I want to give it a little time to cure before I move on to the next step. We got interesting questions. That feels pretty good.
People are asking about, our OP prizes, They're asking about what kind of things they can expect. I was telling them how it's alternate art and tokens, but we'll never rule anything out,
Yeah.
and anything can happen.
So this goes up underneath the satchel. So I'm going to put some little glue right up underneath there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in at a low angle. And I'm just going to snap it right up in there. And it just snaps right in. And it just grabs. And that's our Star-Lord. Look how easy that was to build. So, I'm going to glue him to his base. Final thoughts, Josh. What do we got? Take your time.
He looks fantastic.
Use the right tools.
Be patient.
Be
And of course,
patient.
measure twice, glue once.
Measure twice, cut once. It's a great rule of thumb. How do I want them on his base? Let's put him like that. Holding for a few seconds. 3, 2, 1. Star-Lord, ready for action. This guy's ready to prime. He's super clean. Super awesome miniature for the Guardians of the Galaxy. A little closer? A little closer?
There you go.
How about this side? Go to this camera.
Oh, yeah.
Camera 4. No? Does that one work? Now let's do this one again. How's that one look?
Bring it down. Yeah.
There he goes. Put my hand behind him. So, really awesome, dynamic miniature. Leader of the Guardians affiliation. comes out tomorrow with the Rocket and Groot, which are super fun to play, by the way. And remember, if you have any questions about assembly, if you have any questions about hobby, feel free to @Atomic Mass on the Twitter. Be sure to check us out. Follow us on all the social media. Oh, he's not ready for me. What are we doing?
I have a present.
Oh, we're doing this.
We're gonna preview something.
Okay.
Part of something.
Let me clean this up and make room. So
Explain what's in front of you, Dal.
these were so much fun to design, and I'm super excited for this stuff. So this is part of the Cosmic Terrain set. These are, we call these just the power nodes. Like, they're just kind of cool sci-fi. Imagine if the Guardians were in nowhere, or any other number of cool Jack Kirby inspired places in the Marvel universe, right? This is like a power node, right? You see some cables and it's attached to this this base plate, and it's kind of generating power or something cool, right? It's nice and big. It's a really cool. I think these are size 2s.
3 or I think they're 3.
I think they might be 3s. I can't remember. I mean, you can call them whatever you want in your games. So it's pretty big. This thing's pretty huge. But my favorite one is the untethered power node that's been broken off and it's floating in zero grav. Am I on the screen there? Yeah. So it's kind of floating in zero grav. It's the same thing, except for it's like snapped off from maybe the battle, or who knows, and the cable's all pulled and uncoiled and it's floating. So this is really cool because of this. Oh, we should grab the painted Star-Lord. They can get up on top of these. It's a lot of fun. It's a nice thematic piece of the Cosmic Terrain set that's coming out soon. I don't have any.
A few months. A few short.
Few months.
And this is only just part of the.
Yeah.
And it's not even the biggest part yet.
No. The Cosmic Kiosk they saw. It's got the signs. It's got light poles. It's
got a
got
lot.
barricades.
We'll be showing this off in a game fairly soon in the next few weeks.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, this is one of my favorite things. I really enjoyed working on these, and I think they turned out super, super cool. Really awesome, and they really set that scene for the Guardians, right? That cosmic, like, look. I love it when you smile at her, because you see all the, you see the lines those in your head, like, in those moments in the comics. So it really helps tell the story. It really helps paint. Actually, I think these would work great with the New York stuff too.
It's true.
Like, I like imagine.
Very true.
If
Crash ship or something.
yeah, it's like pieces, like maybe it's some sort of power generator that's been dropped onto Earth for your New York train. Like, maybe there's some power nodes that some aliens have dropped, right? And they're like generating some force field or something. Like, you tell a story, right? That's the cool thing about Marvel. It's the cool thing about Crisis Protocol is, like, you get to tell a story. These can be whatever your imagination can come up with. So I think they're a neat, fun, like, little piece of terrain, and they go great with our little Star-Lord that we just put together.
All right, and that should do it.
That's it.
Yeah.
We put together a Star-Lord. That was the whole point of.
Yeah.
That was the point. Any final questions? Any final thoughts? Let me know. You got 5 seconds.
Did you have
You have 4 seconds.
Did you have a knife that was an X-Acto on there in your kit?
What?
Someone asked if you had a knife that wasn't an X-Acto.
I mean, this is just a little scalpel you can get.
Scalpel.
You can pick them up on Amazon and stuff. There's lots of little blades out there to have. Remember, get your parents' permission, or your parents'
Yes.
adult supervision.
Supervision.
These are not toys. But there's lots of little different shaped blades. Everybody has a preference. There's some nice little chisel tips you can get for, like, going into an angle and getting, like, little 90-degree cutouts and stuff. Lots of options out there. Check it out. Try a few out. I have a huge collection of different tools, and I use them once or twice, and I set them aside. Or sometimes, you only use them for very specific things, These are my heroes, though. Simple toothpicks, an old 65 millimeter base, just a bottle of super glue. That way I can control the glue. That's the big thing, mistake I see people make, is they go straight in glue straight to pieces of miniature. you're just going to not control it very well. Take your time. Hold the part when you clip them out. You saw how useful that was, right? Hold the part when you clip it out. Clean it up. Take your time. Everything is keyed very nicely. And your miniature will be on the table ready to paint in no time. Is that it?
That's it.
All right, he's making me say goodbye, guys. I got this other thing to put together, but he's telling me no.
Stop it.
So, thanks for joining us on this edition of Atomic Mass Transmissions Live. We hope to see you next time, next Thursday, every Thursday, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for more live transmissions. Who knows what we're doing next week? We haven't said yet, have we?
No.
It's a secret. So check us out on all the social media sites. You never know when the next little bit of information is going to be coming about the next cool, exciting Marvel Crisis Protocol, like, excitement. So until next time, I'll talk to you later. Happy painting. And that's the fade. And cut. So I'd like to do it again, but this time, can we start with more of a star wipe? No star wipe?
I do.
Okay.